All right, now it's my honor to introduce Lisa Bowman, sexual harassment survivor and author I mentioned earlier of Harass Hole, a cautionary tale of my time at America's favorite charity. Lisa.
Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you to Lisa Sales and to everybody standing behind me for your support today. My name is Lisa Bowman. I am not a survivor of sexual assault, but I am a survivor of sexual harassment. 4 years ago, in 2020, weeks before the world tilted sideways, I was abruptly terminated from my role as the Chief Marketing Officer at United Way Worldwide, here in Alexandria. The job that I loved, my livelihood, and my financial stability were stolen from me in an instant. Then came the ensuing impacts to my physical and emotional health and the effects upon my family, who were collateral damage. I lost my job for following policy and doing what I was supposed to do. Our policy stated, and I quote, "All supervisors of United Way Worldwide are required to immediately report any incident of potentially harassing, discriminatory, or retaliatory conduct of which they become aware. Failure to immediately report such conduct is grounds for discipline, up to and including termination of employment. Any United Way Worldwide employee who receives a complaint or observes harassing conduct must promptly inform so that an investigation may be initiated." When I went to HR to share concerns raised to me by two of my subordinates about behavior from a male member of the executive team, I didn't doubt them at all, because I myself had spent 15 months enduring a pervasive pattern of harassment by the same individual, and I didn't report it until a few weeks later when he finally crossed a red line. The HR person's response was, and again, I quote, "This is more than inappropriate. This is not a behavior you or anyone else should experience ever. You should not have any retaliation or issues from him, and if you do, please alert me immediately." What happened next was what I've since come to recognize as the standard retaliation playbook. My boss, the CEO of United Way Worldwide, told me that I needed to learn to get along with my harasser. My performance was downgraded with no merit or substantiation. I had resources pulled from my team with no alleviation of the work. I was held accountable to delivering at a standard that was, quite frankly, absolutely unachievable. Cut out of meetings and deprived of reporting at board meetings where I had always done so prior. The list goes on. I believe a concerted effort was made to create a workplace that was so hostile, I surely quit. I'm not a quitter. And when that didn't happen, I was terminated, summarily and wholly unexpectedly. After I was fired, out of concern for the organization that I loved and valued my job at, I tried to warn the board that they had a problem. I'd actually tried to warn the CEO of a potential problem from the very moment I interviewed my harasser as a candidate for the role he was ultimately hired for. It went unheeded. When the board ignored me, I spoke out about what had happened because I didn't want anyone else to have to go through it. People told me I was brave. I was actually scared. The reality is, we all know what happens when we aren't silent. My values are grounded in the belief that silence equals complicity, and I couldn't in good conscience be complicit in covering up what was happening. I have to look at myself in the mirror every single day. After I spoke out, more than 20 women stepped forward, telling the board that they too had experienced or witnessed this during their tenure at the organization. One of the women came forward with allegations of having been assaulted. Since that time, my career has been destroyed. I've had job offers rescinded. "Your background is amazing, but we can't take a risk with you, Lisa." Recruiters tell me that their client isn't interested because of what happened. I sat across from the CEO in an interview where I was one of two final candidates and was told to my face, "I'm willing to give you a job if you will assure me that you won't come here and be a problem." Here's the ironic thing. I'm not a problem. And the problem was never addressed. My hair has fallen out. I've suffered recurring bouts of awful hives on my body. There are days where I am so sick to my stomach I cannot keep food down. The toll this has taken on me has been immense. I've had to carry the weight of dealing with the fallout from following policy and doing what I was supposed to do. My former boss, the person who harassed me, and the one who oversaw HR have seemingly moved on with no impact. They are all appearing to be employed and in fact were proactively offered exit packages. According to United Way's Form 990, the CEO, who resigned, was awarded $3.6 million for a year in which he only worked until February 9th, and another $363,000 the following year. Remember, it's not just the perpetrator, but also the people and the systems that enable and protect them. Yet they seem to be the ones that win. Here I stand having to fight for justice and accountability instead of fighting for the health, education, and financial stability of every person in every community, which was the brand credo of United Way during my tenure. The organization certainly didn't fight for me or any of the other women who served it. They fought against us. The 55,000 members of Women United who have collectively raised over $2 billion for United Way should be absolutely outraged at what has happened to me and other women at that organization. I should not have to endure what I have. I shouldn't have had to tell a contract employer that I was speaking about this today and hold my breath in fear that I would lose the work. I shouldn't have to worry about where or even if I will find the next source of work as a result of this. I shouldn't have to worry about if I can afford medical insurance, my mortgage, food on my table, and my legal bills. I shouldn't have to lie awake at night fighting back tears at what has happened to my life. I should be able to hold my head high, knowing I did the right thing instead of feeling like I am the one being blamed and shamed. I'd like to share a quote that I recently saw. You gain strength, courage, and confidence by every experience in which you stop to look fear in the face. You are able to say to yourself, I have lived through this horror. I can take the next thing that comes along. You must do the thing you think you cannot do. What I've endured is untenable and illegal under Title VII of the Civil Rights Act of 1964. Approximately 1 hour ago, I filed suit against United Way Worldwide, who must be held accountable for the harm they have caused me and so many others. While the former leadership of United Way handed this burden down, I would invite the current CEO of United Way and the chair of the United Way Board of Directors to take a different position than their predecessors who accepted no responsibility for their actions. Thank you.